You don't hear much about unrequited love these days outside of the fangirl relationship that they have with the content creator or celebrity that they're so much in love with. No matter what the celebrity does wrong, the fangirl will still love them no matter what. You don't hear much of this outside of the realm of the internet because it's really hard to believe that sometimes this stuff actually happens. It is very hard to come back from unrequited love, and there are just so many things that are just weird and bad about the whole dynamic afterward. For one, the person in love forms some sort of alternate reality universe where anything that the person that they're in love with does becomes a sign of interest, that they're showing interest in you, that your love for them is finally gonna have some truth to it. When in reality, the person on the opposite end of the love stick is only just trying to be friendly or just going out of their way to be nice. It also just leaves almost no room to try and be friends afterward, or even during the process in the first place, because the person on the receiving end of the love has no idea if what they're about to do is going to be perceived as showing interest in the person, and that is unfair. It also puts the person in love in a situation in which they can't move forward with their life, and they can't move on. They can't move on because they're so deeply seated in trying to make this work that they don't want to do anything else until they make it work, when in reality it is never going to work. The person in love is also almost at the point where they just don't want to believe that there's nothing there because they've wasted so much time believing that there's something there that they don't want to give up and just realize that it was all just a waste of time. That's when they need to grow up and realize that there's something wrong, especially because of what they're putting the other person through. They're often too blind to realize what they're putting the other person through, and that's probably the worst thing about this. They're only thinking about themselves, and they're not thinking of what the other person is going through and how the other person feels, and often how they know the other person feels. A big part of growing up is realizing when you've made a mistake and when you need to fix your mistakes. Being in unrequited love makes it very hard to grow up and makes it very hard to realize that you've made a mistake because you don't want to realize that you've made a mistake. It's hard to admit to yourself when you've made a mistake, but it's even harder to admit to yourself that you've been in love with somebody that didn't love you back and that it's never going to work out. Realizing this and moving on is going to be a big step, but you're going to need it if you ever want to get out of the rut that you're in, and if you ever want to move past it and get on with your life.